Phillips, and I'm a huge fan of Humans Against Ted Cruz. I actually believe in all life forms against Ted Cruz, and that's really what I'm working towards.
It's Friday, March 14th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. It's been hot this week in Central and South Texas, near record highs here in mid-March, and an enduring state of exceptional drought, as dry as it gets by the U.S. Drought Monitor scale, persists across the San Antonio area, the Texas Hill Country, and the Western Range out towards Big Bend. As much time as we spend fighting over oil, the really big fight's going to be about water, and that situation is worsening by the day. A new major reporting push by the Texas Tribune says Texas towns and cities could be on a path towards a severe shortage of water by 2030. That's just 5 years out now. And we're not talking industrial water here. This is basic cooking, cleaning, and drinking water in play. The Trib has cranked out an essential rundown of the facts surrounding Texas's water supply. Our groundwater sources, including 9 major and 22 minor aquifers, and surface water sources, including 15 major river basins, 8 coastal basins, and hundreds of lakes and reservoirs. And who owns that water based on Texas law that dictates that if you own land, you own the water beneath it, water that is, of course, also under your neighbor's land as well, while surface water belongs to the state and is governed by the ever-reliable Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TCEQ. Meanwhile, equally reliable Republicans in the legislature are working on major water investment plans, but just like with petroleum, we count on them to put people over profit at our own dire peril. Simply put, when there's no water, there's no Texas, and we all need to pay close attention. While something as existential as water is in doubt in Texas, one Republican House member is finding time to tackle an issue of obviously equal importance: furries. Members of the furry fandom, as it were, are part of a role-playing subculture centered on anthropomorphic animal characters in which they essentially pretend to be animals. This lifestyle seems pretty out there for people who haven't been exposed to it, and as with other subsets of folks, it's been treated with mistrust and sensationalism by your more backward media sources. It's generally harmless, but has come to be regarded with fear and contempt by a lot of the same folks who gravitate towards that kind of sentiment for people outside of their own groups. That apparently includes Smithville Republican Rep Stan Gerdes, who's filed a bill at the Texas House seeking to ban non-human behavior in Texas schools, apparently not getting the memo that recent conservative concern over students taking part in this subculture using litter boxes at school, pushed by authoritative sources including Colorado train wreck Lauren Boebert, turned out to be without merit and really a clandestine attack on the LGBTQ plus community with which these same conservatives have associated furry culture. Brahmi Balarajan at the Houston Chronicle says Jeff Watrosky with the Human Rights Campaign said in a statement back at the height of that hoax in 2022, quote, claiming that kids are identifying as cats underscores the sickening lengths some politicians will go to rile up the most extreme and dangerous elements of their base. The attention this freakish lie has received on social media illustrates the pernicious influence of disinformation and that anti-LGBTQ plus politicians will do and say anything to animate the most extreme fringe, no matter the consequence, unquote. Dehumanization is the real goal here. A quick note on Elon Musk, for any of you who know anybody who's still trying to deny that that was an actual real-life Nazi salute a few weeks ago. Musk has lately pissed off big labor with a retweet claiming, quote, Stalin, Mao, and Hitler didn't murder millions of people. Their public sector workers did, unquote. A stunning notion from Texas's worst transplant, who also happens to be in the thick of firing hundreds of thousands of public sector workers right at the moment. Mary Pappenfuss at The Independent writes that Lee Saunders, union president of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees of the AFL-CIO, said in a statement, quote, America's public service workers, our nurses, teachers, firefighters, librarians, choose making our communities safe, healthy, and strong over getting rich. They are not, as the world's richest man implies, genocidal murderers. Elon Musk and the billionaires in this administration have no idea what real people go through every day. That's why he's so willing to take a chainsaw to people's jobs, Medicaid, Social Security, and Medicare, unquote. We talked yesterday about Tesla's stock tanking in spectacular fashion alongside the spectacle its owner's been generating of late. Not that he cares, but his polling's in the toilet too. Elizabeth Crisp at The Hill says a CNN SSRS survey out this week shows 62% of respondents believing that Elon Musk lacks the experience needed for his new role as Trump's hatchet man, and 61% with doubts about his judgment. As we wrap, and this one doesn't specifically apply to Texas necessarily, but it does apply to any and all of us who are vocal in our political opinions, especially if they counter the current Republican regime. We should all be following closely the story of Mahmoud Khalil. Briefly from The Guardian, a green card holder from Syria, a U.S. permanent resident and recent master's graduate at Columbia School of International and Public Affairs, and a prominent participant in the Gaza protests at Columbia University in the spring of last year. Mahmoud was arrested on Saturday in New York by immigration officials after being targeted by name by pro-Israel activists who had publicly called on the Trump administration to deport him. The day before his arrest, he had voiced concerns about his safety amidst building harassment. The officers who arrested him presented no warrant, just shoved him into a car and drove away. And without notifying his wife, who's an American citizen, relocated him to Louisiana, effectively disappearing him. Donald Trump, via social media, has called Khalil's arrest part of his promise to deport international students who participated in pro-Palestinian protests, conflating them with support for Hamas and promising that it's the, quote, first arrest of many to come, unquote. All of this clearly raising major free speech implications. Brian House at the ACLU says, quote, this seems like one of the biggest threats, if not the biggest threat, to First Amendment freedoms in 50 years. It's a direct attempt to punish speech because of the viewpoint it espouses, unquote. Feels like a test case for the silencing of political opposition. And if we'll ignore an arrest like this that makes headlines, we've basically normalized the disappearing of people in America based upon their political beliefs. The group Jewish Voice for Peace isn't ignoring it. Nearly 100 of them were arrested during a huge protest demanding Khalil's release at Trump Tower in New York yesterday. Speak now or forever hold your silence takes on a whole new meaning here for those of us who are standing up. March is Women's History Month, and as Progress Texas Advocacy Associate Tatum Owens points out, while we honor the many women who have broken ground in Texas, we also lament the fact that we remain the worst state for them. Tatum has compiled a great list of Women's History Month events happening across Texas where you can get directly involved. See that list at ProgressTexas.org. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the conservative disinformation machine, but they far outmatch us in funding. Oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups spend a lot of money keeping their audiences in the dark. If you've come to appreciate the light we shine on important political news in Texas on a daily, ongoing basis, please know that our regular everyday listeners form a key component of our funding. If that's you, we could use your support as a monthly contributor, and no amount is too small. Go to ProgressTexas.org/donate. Thanks to Matt Berry, Will Judy, and Bill Holston, all three of whom have joined the team lately. We appreciate all of you very much. San Antonio friends, Progress Texas is Alamo City bound for the first time in a while for a live podcast taping and fundraising party on Tuesday, May the 6th. We look forward to a long overdue and fun get-together with you guys at our Party for Progress. Mark that date, Tuesday, May 6th in San Antonio, and keep it here for more details. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Friday, May 14th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and a great weekend. We'll see you again on Monday.